Now I built this shop, and what I mean by that is I had a contractor basically do the whole shell. It's a Miracle Trust building. I absolutely love this building. I've said that many, many times. And I basically had them hand it to me as just an empty shell. Insulation was in, that was it. And then I came in and completely finished out the interior because I knew I wanted to look a very specific way. Have one side that's set up, film, big tire garage. We have the other side that looks completely different. We used to film four-wheeler and some other things. But when I was building it, man, there comes a time when you're building a building like this, you just get tired of building the building. You just want to get back to building cars. And I hit that wall and just put a bunch of little projects off to the side. The issue with that is they just never got done. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to basically try to knock out one of those projects every single week. Some of them are basically just decorative projects. Some of them are required projects that I really should have got done a long time ago. And I thought this was the perfect chance to just knock out a couple short little extra videos for YouTube. So let me know in the comment section if you like this stuff. If you don't, that's fine. Let's go back to just working on trucks. But, you know, I figured most of us, if we work on trucks, we also build other cool stuff. So this video is all about this right here. This is a custom railing that I built on top of my shipping container. My buddy Bill McClister built me this platform quite some time ago. I've been meaning to put a railing around this the entire time after he got that thing done. And I wanted it to be super custom and super cool. And so that's what I have right here. This type of railing, you can do it at your house. You can do it on your deck. It's actually not that hard. You don't have to leave it rustic like this. You can go ahead and powder coat it, make it look cool. But it's a great use for some old winch cable, came off a winch, and some steel from the steel rack. I'm going to start with a little bit of painting. This green is pretty cool. I had it custom mixed at my local Home Depot. I mixed a bunch of grays and greens together and then filmed it with the camera because I was after that sort of old school green machinery look on tape. And when I got the color that I wanted, I took it down there and they basically shot it with their color matching thing. So it's kind of like a custom mix. I just haven't got around to painting the side of this platform. That's the first thing I got to do. Then it's off to the plasma cutter to start cutting some plates. These are basically just roll cage plates. It's a 4-bolt flange that I'm going to weld to some 2x2 inch, 1/8 inch wall tubing. I'm setting the railing height right at 42 inches. That's a little bit higher than code, but it just feels comfortable, I think, when you're standing on top of the container. I'll then weld the roll cage plates onto the side of the tubes, but the corner post is going to be a little bit different. That takes care of all of the uprights for this railing. Now this 2x2, I'm just gonna leave it raw. I actually kind of like it. I think it's gonna look good with the shipping container. And they all have the same bracket onto the bottom of them, except for this corner piece. As you can imagine, if I had brought the corner and just mounted it to the inside edge, then when I went around the corner, the railing wouldn't match because the next piece in line from this is gonna be down the corner, is actually gonna be mounted to the face of that platform up there. So what I had to do is I had to come up with this cool little bracket that basically offset this one piece 2 inches over. That's gonna screw into both sides. This will actually be the first piece that I put up onto the shipping container. These are just the uprights. The horizontal pieces, I got something pretty special planned. So before I do that, I actually need to punch a whole bunch of holes into all of these uprights in the exact same spot. Then I can mount them up. Then I can anchor the uprights onto the container. I'm just using some lag screws and some washers, 4 screws per pole. They're super strong because not only will I anchor the uprights to the platform that's on top of the container, I'll also anchor it to the wall of the building when it reaches that end. For the center dividers on my railing, I actually have this leftover 5/16 winch wire. This is stainless steel cable. I actually took this off a winch years ago to replace it with synthetic line, and I've just left it laying around the shop, and I knew I'd use it somewhere, and this is gonna look super cool strung through all those 2x2 steel posts. I'm gonna start way back there. My original plan, even though I kind of didn't think it was going to work, was to try to bend this 5/16 cable around the corner inside this 2x2. And I kind of knew it wasn't going to work, so I had a plan B. Plan B is I'm just basically using these little cable clamps, attaching them to the end of the cable, and then feeding it down through and out the hole. Still gives it the illusion that the stainless steel is making the turn inside of there, but it's just anchored on either side and then heads down to the turnbuckles. It's the easiest way to do it. After feeding the winch line up through the 2x2, I attach the anchor, pull it back down, and then bring it to the other end. Then it's just a matter of wrapping it through the eyelet on the turnbuckle and just setting it up loosely, and then I'll cut the handrail. Top rail is some 1.5 by 3. I just think it gives it a more beefy look if it overhangs the edge of the railing. And the good news is the actual MIG gun will reach from the floor of the shop. If it didn't, I'd have two choices. Number one, drag the MIG welder up on top of the shipping container, or I could use an arc stinger and just arc weld this all together, but I'm really glad I was able to do it. And with that, I have everything I wanted. It's a lot more comfortable to be on top of the shipping container because you feel safer, and it looks super cool.